We live in a world that celebrates endless positivity, boundless ambition, and relentless progress. But in this race to stay upbeat and ahead, we often forget that life isn't always shiny, smooth, or easy. The truth is, life is a mosaic of joys, struggles, triumphs, and heartbreaks. The challenge isn't avoiding the hard parts, it's learning to face them, live through them, and grow because of them. Today, I want to talk about the beauty, the power, and the necessity of accepting the reality of life just as it is. Accepting reality doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you settle for less or resign yourself to defeat. Acceptance is about acknowledging what's true, even when it's hard. It's about giving yourself permission to feel, to grieve, to struggle, and then to heal, to hope, and to rise again. When we resist reality, we suffer twice, once from the pain of the moment, and again from the energy we waste denying it. But when we lean into the truth, we free ourselves to respond with courage, clarity, and strength. Life is a blend of joys and struggles. It's never just one or the other, and that's what makes it both unpredictable and extraordinary. There will be moments that make your heart soar, where everything feels aligned and joy flows effortlessly. But alongside those highs, there will also be moments of challenge, pain, and uncertainty. These peaks and valleys are not signs of a flawed life, they are the essence of what it means to be human. Imagine if life were a straight line with no ups or downs. It might feel safe, but it would also be stagnant, devoid of growth, and stripped of depth. The struggles we face, as hard as they are, give meaning to our joys. The hard days teach us to savor the good ones. The heartbreaks make love feel more profound. The failures make success taste sweeter. When we resist the difficult parts of life, we deprive ourselves of the full experience of being alive. It's natural to wish for a smooth, easy path, but smooth roads rarely lead to the places worth going. Growth happens in the struggle. Resilience is forged in the fire of challenges. And every valley we walk through shapes us, strengthens us, and prepares us for the next peak. Accepting this blend of joys and struggles doesn't mean you won't feel pain or frustration. It doesn't mean you won't wish for easier days, but it does mean that you can approach life with a sense of balance and perspective. You can remind yourself that when you're in the valley, the peak isn't gone, it's just waiting for you to climb again. And when you're at the peak, you can appreciate the view all the more because you know the effort it took to get there. Life's richness is in its contrasts, its highs and lows, its light and shadow. To embrace it fully is to accept both joy and struggle as essential parts of the journey. And when you do, you'll find a deeper sense of peace, knowing that every part of your experience matters. Every part contributes to the beautiful, imperfect, and ever-evolving story of your life. Acceptance is not resignation. It's not about giving up, giving in, or letting go of your hopes and dreams. Instead, it's about acknowledging what is true right now, no matter how uncomfortable or difficult it may feel. When we recognize reality, we give ourselves the clarity to act. We stop wasting energy on fighting what we cannot change and start focusing on what we can. There's a misconception that acceptance means defeat, as if saying, "This is my reality," somehow robs us of our power. But the opposite is true. Acceptance is the foundation of strength. It's what allows us to take an honest inventory of where we are and decide how to move forward. Without acceptance, we're stuck in a cycle of resistance, pushing against reality, wishing it away, and exhausting ourselves in the process. We can't begin to heal what we won't acknowledge. We can't solve a problem we refuse to see. And we can't grow when we're trapped in denial. Acceptance clears the path for change. It's the moment we say, "This is hard and this is real, but it doesn't define my future." From that place of truth, we can take positive action. Maybe it's a small step toward a goal, or maybe it's just giving ourselves permission to pause and breathe. Acceptance also frees us from the weight of unrealistic expectations. When we let go of the need for life to look a certain way, we open ourselves to the possibilities of what could be. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming or striving. It means you start where you are instead of where you wish you were. It's not about settling, it's about grounding yourself in the present so you can build a better tomorrow. When you choose acceptance, you're not giving up on life. You're stepping into it with courage, clarity, and the power to create meaningful change. Acceptance is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of everything that comes next. Denial creates double suffering. Pain is a natural part of life, but when we resist it, we add an extra layer of anguish. It's like trying to hold back a wave with your bare hands. The wave doesn't stop, it just crashes over you with even more force. When something difficult happens, our first instinct is often to push it away. We tell ourselves it's not that bad. We try to distract, avoid, or pretend it isn't real. But the truth doesn't disappear just because we refuse to see it. Instead, it lingers, building pressure beneath the surface. The pain of the situation remains, but now it's joined by the exhaustion of fighting against reality. And the more we resist, the heavier it feels. Denial might offer a temporary escape, but it always comes at a cost. It keeps us stuck in a limbo where we can neither move forward nor fully rest. It robs us of the opportunity to face the truth and begin the process of healing. Pain, when acknowledged, has a way of softening over time. But pain denied hardens into something sharp or something that can cut us in unexpected ways. To resist what is true is to prolong our suffering. To face it, however, is to give ourselves a chance to breathe. When we let go of denial, we make room for acceptance. And in acceptance, there is relief not because the pain vanishes, but because the struggle against it ends. The truth may be hard to face, but it is always lighter to carry than the weight of denial. Acknowledging what is real doesn't mean you have to like it or agree with it. It simply means you're willing to let it exist without fighting it. That willingness to see reality, even when it's painful, is a gift you give yourself. It's the first step toward freedom. Freedom from the endless loop of avoidance. Freedom from the added burden of resistance. And freedom to begin the work of healing, growing, and finding peace even in the midst of the storm. Feeling is healing. Our emotions are not problems to fix or enemies to conquer. They are messages, signals, and truths about our inner world, waiting to be heard. Yet, so often we resist them. We label certain feelings as bad or weak. We bury sadness, suppress anger, or deny fear, believing that ignoring them will make them disappear. But emotions don't simply vanish when ignored. They linger, unprocessed, shaping our thoughts and actions in ways we may not even realize. When we push them away, we create a tension within ourselves, a divide between what we feel and what we allow ourselves to acknowledge. Healing begins when we give ourselves permission to feel fully and without judgment. Sadness, anger, fear, joy, love, and even confusion, each has a place in our experience. Each has something to teach us. Feeling an emotion doesn't mean it will consume you. It means you're letting it move through you instead of holding it inside where it can fester. Sadness reminds us of what we cherish. Anger points us toward boundaries that need protecting. Fear alerts us to risk, while joy reminds us of life's beauty. Even the most uncomfortable emotions carry wisdom. To heal, we must honor these feelings by allowing them to exist without trying to fix, control, or judge them. Let the tears fall if they need to. Let yourself feel the weight of grief or the heat of frustration. Breathe through the tightness of fear or the vulnerability of love. These feelings are not signs of weakness, they are proof of your humanity. They are part of the natural ebb and flow of life. When you allow yourself to experience emotions, you begin to process them. And as they are processed, they lose their sharp edges. They transform, soften, and eventually give way to clarity and peace. Healing doesn't mean the absence of pain, it means you're no longer fighting it. It means you're allowing yourself to be fully present with what is true, trusting that you are strong enough to hold it. Feelings are not something to fear, they are bridges to understanding yourself, to finding wholeness, and to living authentically. Courage lives in vulnerability. It's easy to think of courage as something bold and unshakable, as standing tall in the face of fear without hesitation. But real courage often looks different. It's quieter, softer, and far more raw. True courage comes from showing up, even when we feel uncertain or exposed. It's about facing life with an open heart, knowing we can't control the outcome, but choosing to engage anyway. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the willingness to be seen as we are, without masks or defenses. It's admitting I don't have all the answers, or I'm scared, or this hurts. That kind of honesty takes enormous strength. The world often tells us to hide our vulnerability, to present an image of confidence and control at all times. But when we shut off our vulnerability, we shut ourselves off from connection, growth, and the full experience of life. Facing reality means stepping into the unknown, where the risks feel real and the stakes feel high. It might mean starting a difficult conversation or admitting a mistake. It might mean trying something new and risking failure, or asking for help when you need it. These moments are where courage is born, not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to act despite it. Being vulnerable means letting go of the illusion of perfection. It means accepting that life will include uncertainty and that we won't always have control. And yet, it's in those vulnerable moments that we often find the greatest strength. Because when you stand in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you discover a resilience you didn't know you had. You realize that courage isn't about being invincible, it's about being authentic. It's about saying, this is me, flaws and all, and I'm still here. Vulnerability doesn't guarantee that things will go the way we hope. But it does guarantee that we are fully present, fully alive, and fully engaged in the experience of living. To face reality, to open ourselves to both joy and pain, is the bravest thing we can do. And in that bravery, we find the heart of what it means to truly live. Control is an illusion. We often tell ourselves that if we plan enough, prepare enough, or try hard enough, we can shape life to our will. But life has a way of reminding us that it doesn't work like that. The unexpected happens. Plans fall apart. People act in ways we can't predict, and no matter how much we try, we can't control everything. At first, this truth can feel unsettling. We want to believe we have power over every detail, that we can avoid pain or ensure success if we just try harder. But the more we cling to control, the more exhausted and frustrated we become. It's like trying to hold on to water with your hands. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. The truth is, control is not what brings us peace. What brings peace is recognizing where our power truly lies. We may not control the circumstances around us, but we always have control over how we respond to them. That's where our freedom lies. In every challenge, we have a choice. We can resist, deny, and fight against what's happening, or we can accept it and decide how to move forward. When we stop trying to control the uncontrollable, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and disappointment. We create space to focus on what we can influence: our attitude, our actions, and our perspective. Choosing how to respond is not always easy. It takes practice, patience, and self-awareness. But it's a skill that can transform how we experience life. Instead of being swept away by chaos, we become grounded, steady, and adaptable. It's not about giving up or letting life happen to you. It's about trusting yourself to navigate whatever comes your way. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring or trying. It means you stop carrying the impossible weight of needing everything to go your way. And in letting go, you discover something surprising. You don't need control to feel secure. You need trust in yourself, trust in your resilience, and trust that life, even in its uncertainty, has something valuable to offer. Growth comes from discomfort. As much as we wish it weren't true, the moments that stretch us, challenge us, and even break us are the ones that shape us most deeply. Struggles are the soil in which resilience and wisdom take root. It's in the hard, messy, and uncertain parts of life that we discover what we're truly capable of. When everything is easy, we stay in our comfort zones. We settle into familiar patterns and routines because they feel safe. But growth doesn't happen in safety. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, facing adversity, and pushing beyond what feels comfortable. It's not easy to embrace discomfort. Struggles can feel overwhelming, and it's natural to want to avoid them. But avoiding discomfort often keeps us stuck. It's like refusing to plant a seed because we're afraid of the dirt. Growth begins when we're willing to get our hands dirty, when we're willing to sit with the discomfort and learn from it. Each challenge we face teaches us something new. It might teach us about our strength, our patience, or our ability to adapt. It might reveal a hidden part of ourselves or help us see life from a different perspective. The lessons don't always come right away. Sometimes it takes time to understand how a struggle has shaped us. But if you look back on your life, you'll likely find that the moments of greatest growth were also some of the hardest. Discomfort doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. It's a sign that you're stretching beyond what you know, stepping into a bigger version of yourself. Every struggle is an opportunity to build resilience, to prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. And with resilience comes wisdom. Wisdom to face future challenges with greater confidence. Wisdom to help others who are struggling. And wisdom to appreciate the beauty of life, even when it's imperfect. Growth through discomfort isn't about seeking out pain or struggle. It's about recognizing that when discomfort comes, it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of something new, something stronger, deeper, and truer. Authenticity requires honesty. It begins with the courage to look at your life and see it as it truly is, not as you wish it to be or as you think others want to see it. Being real with yourself is not always easy. It means confronting truths that may be uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even painful. But without honesty, authenticity is impossible. We often wear masks to protect ourselves from judgment or rejection. We tell ourselves half-truths to avoid facing realities that feel too heavy to bear. We filter our words and actions to fit into expectations that don't align with who we are. But every time we do, we move further away from ourselves. Living authentically means dropping those masks. It means saying, this is who I am, this is what I feel, and this is what I'm going through. It doesn't mean airing every thought or struggle to the world. It means being honest with yourself first, because that's where authenticity begins. When you acknowledge what's really happening in your life, you give yourself the power to address it. You can't fix what you refuse to see. You can't heal what you won't admit is broken. Honesty opens the door to growth and transformation. It's the foundation for making choices that align with your values, your needs, and your true self. It's also the foundation for meaningful connections with others. When you show up authentically, you invite others to do the same. You create space for real conversations, genuine relationships, and deeper trust. Honesty doesn't mean being hard on yourself or judging where you are. It's about meeting yourself with compassion and saying, this is my truth right now, and that's okay. Life isn't about perfection, it's about being real. Real about your struggles, real about your desires, real about the parts of yourself that you're still learning to love. Authenticity is a daily practice, a choice to live in alignment with your truth. And it starts with the simple but profound act of being honest with yourself. Because when you live authentically, you don't just live life, you live your life fully and unapologetically. Community matters. Life is too vast, too complex, and too full of highs and lows to carry alone. We are not meant to face it in isolation. There's something profoundly healing about sharing your truth with others. When you open up, when you let someone see the real you, your struggles, your joys, your questions, you remind yourself that you're not alone. Connection lessens the burden of reality. It doesn't erase the challenges, but it does make them feel more bearable. A shared load is always lighter than one carried in solitude. When you share your truth, you create a bridge between yourself and another person. You invite them into your world, and in doing so, you open the door for empathy, understanding, and support. It can be hard to take that first step, to let someone in, especially when you feel vulnerable. But vulnerability is where connection begins. It's in those moments of raw honesty that we realize how deeply interconnected we all are. The struggles you face may not be identical to someone else's, but the feelings behind them, the fear, the hope, the longing are universal. In sharing your truth, you give others permission to do the same. You create a space where it's okay to be imperfect, where it's okay to admit that life is hard sometimes. That kind of honesty builds trust and community. It reminds us that we're all in this together. Community doesn't have to be large to be meaningful. It could be one trusted friend, a family member, or even a group of strangers who listen without judgment. What matters is that you don't carry everything alone. Human connection has a way of grounding us. It reminds us of our resilience and helps us see that even in our hardest moments, we are still supported, still seen, still loved. We thrive not because we avoid challenges, but because we face them together. The reality of life is lighter when shared. And in that sharing, we find not only strength, but also the profound beauty of belonging. Freedom lies in acceptance. It's easy to believe that freedom comes from control, from shaping every aspect of our lives according to our desires and plans. But true freedom isn't about forcing life to bend to our will, it's about accepting what is, exactly as it is. When we stop fighting against reality, when we let go of the need to control everything, we make space for what can be. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to a life we don't want. It doesn't mean we stop striving or dreaming for better things. What it means is that we stop resisting what we can't change, and in doing so, we free ourselves from the heavy burden of constant struggle. When we fight against what is, we create tension within ourselves. We exhaust our energy trying to push life into a shape that doesn't fit, and we grow bitter when things don't go our way. But when we accept reality, however imperfect or difficult it may be, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. Acceptance allows us to see the situation clearly, without the distortion of denial or frustration. It doesn't mean we don't feel pain or disappointment. It means we acknowledge those feelings, sit with them, and then move forward, knowing that they don't have to define our future. By accepting what is, we release the need for constant resistance. We free ourselves from the grip of perfectionism and control. And in that space, we can discover new paths, new opportunities, and new ways of being. When we stop fighting life, we start living it. We start engaging with it more fully, with less fear and more possibility. Acceptance opens the door to peace, to resilience, and to the creative power of choosing how we respond to what comes our way. It is in the act of surrender that we find strength, the strength to face life as it is, and the courage to make the most of it. Freedom is not about escaping the present, it's about embracing it fully. And when we do, we make room for everything life can offer. In the end, true freedom isn't found in avoiding discomfort or trying to control every aspect of life. It's found in the simple act of accepting what is, without judgment or resistance. By embracing our reality with all its ups and downs, we open ourselves up to growth, to connection, and to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. When we show up with honesty, when we face discomfort with courage, and when we accept the present moment as it is, we make space for a life that is richer, deeper, and more authentic. So let go of the need to control and allow yourself to simply be, because it is in that space of acceptance that you will find the freedom to truly live.